No need for an elimination bracket for the Texas Longhorn softball team. The Longhorns are through to the national championship round. As you heard it live here on 1300 Zone this afternoon with Andrew Haynes on the call. Texas with a 2-0 shutout of the Tennessee Volunteers, back in the national championship round for the second straight year and for the third time in these past 4 seasons. Very pleased to be joined live right now from Oklahoma City by head coach Mike White. I'm always curious when you get a big win like this in the postseason and you've got a couple of days. I know there's planning that goes on, but how much of this do you allow yourself to enjoy, Mike? Congratulations on the win.
Well, not so much myself, but thank you for that. Not so much myself, but the girls for sure. They were talking about manicures and pedicures and things like that. So, they're enjoying the time off for sure. But it's great to be able to sit back and be able to watch the other teams compete and then find out who we play.
So no mani-pedi for you there? You can relax and enjoy a cold malted beverage while they're working on your feet or something like that?
No, maybe the latter without the feet, but hey,
yeah,
I'll do what I have to do.
Yeah, I was curious to get your thoughts on this. You talked to Holly Rowe. I was watching the telecast when you mentioned about how you were setting up your pitching for it, and it started with Mac Morgan. And you and I talked about Mac last week, and you said she's going to be an important part of what we do before this is done. And boy, she really seemed on the beam today, even doing what she normally doesn't do in great abundance in getting strikeouts, because she does such a fabulous job of getting opposing players to hit the ball on the ground. But how would you characterize what you saw in analyzing what Mac did for you in the circle today?
Oh, it was huge for us, the ability to go out there and play against one of the best hitting teams in the country. I mean, they got 7 runs off Florida the other night, just in the first innings. So to come out and really set the tone for us defensively, and then allow us to kind of battle our way through against one of the best pitchers in the country, it was great, and also allowed Teagan to have a little extra rest.
Well, and that's where I was going next, because a lot of layman fans would sit back and see what Mac had done and say, they're making a change. He's making a change. He's bringing it. But Teagan's been your go-to, your bell cow all season long. So was it in your mind as soon as you got a lead, you were going to go to Teagan, or did it just depend on how Mac was going, or was there a point, even if you had not gotten the homer from Katie Stewart and it was still scoreless after 4? What was your plan as that was you might say unfolding throughout the course of the middle innings?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you always make plans, and they're there to be adjusted. And the plan was to go 5 innings with Mac. So we were one short of that, but I thought it was time. She was getting the ball up just a little bit, and that's a telltale sign when we need to make a change with Mac. But I was just so proud of her, the way she the way she fought, and kept that team in the game. And then, of course, once we got that lead, it was like, we're not giving this up.
How sure were you that the ball off Katie's bat was a home run? I mean, seeing all the replays, it was very, very close, and maybe a leap might have been able to get it, might not have. But when it came off the bat, were you thinking it was going out?
I thought it may have a chance, but I thought it was going to stay in, and then it started drifting, and I saw her drifting, and I was like, let's go, come on. And then, I think we got some heavenly help up there, so it definitely just barely made it over.
Visiting with Mike White, Texas softball coach here on 1300 The Zone. Okay, you brought up Teagan and how important it was. When you got the lead also, how important do you think it was, since you got a day off tomorrow, for her, even as much work as she has put in this season, for her still to get in there, give you 3 innings, she got the save, to get in a little, you might say, tune-up work, some work there before she goes back to the circle for you on Wednesday?
Yeah, she's pitching a little bit more than she normally does for us, but I've just been really impressed with her stamina so far, and she looked pretty good coming in. But just the ability to just go with 3 innings, I think just over 40 pitches, so it wasn't too bad. So I think her pitch count, considering she's thrown in 3 games, is relatively low. And of course, getting another day off tomorrow certainly helps as well.
It was a pretty emotional win for Oklahoma, over Oklahoma. It would be that way for anybody, given the excellence of the Sooners. Were you able to tell a tangible, emotional lift and carryover for your group, not just because it was a win, and not just because it was a win in the College World Series there in Oklahoma City, but because of who it was you beat, where you beat them, and the impact that it carried for you numerically into the semifinals?
Yeah, all three of those things put together for sure. I mean, it was a huge breakthrough win for our program. I mean, the first time was when we actually beat them, I think, a couple of years ago with Haley Delsini. I think we won the series against them. So that was the first breakthrough, and then we hadn't really beaten them in Oklahoma at all, and we really hadn't played that well against them, to tell you the truth. And for us to kind of get that monkey off our back, so to speak, is huge. And hopefully we can continue to play free and with confidence like we are doing right now.
Curious to get your thoughts on this. I've read and seen and heard quite a few comments from coaches and players of other teams there in Oklahoma City talking about this being kind of an unfair advantage for Oklahoma playing at Devon Park and all of that sort of stuff. Is your group only because they played there so much and because they played Oklahoma as much as they played them in that state? Are they pretty easily able to block out all the extraneous, and it's an awful lot of extraneous, the noise and the excitement and the obvious home crowd advantage that the Sooners have when they're out there?
Yeah, it certainly is something that's to their advantage, and we know that. But there's nothing we can do about it except compete, and we just got to put that behind us, and stop making excuses, and so to speak, and really just kind of focus on what we can control and what we need to do, and just work our way through it. I thought the other night when we played really well, their crowd was a little bit more quiet, so we kind of took them out of it, and that was a big advantage for us, actually.
In a perfect world, and we all live in an imperfect world, but Mike, in a perfect world, would a more ideal situation be for, I don't know if it'd be the NCAA or a particular city, maybe in Frisco in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is really billing itself as a sports complex capital of the world, to have a 20,000 seat or whatever 15,000 seat softball stadium in a big market that doesn't necessarily have a collegiate allegiance to have a true neutral site. In a perfect world, would that be a more ideal setup?
Well, I think it's something to look at the next time around. I know there was a multi-year contract because the city of Oklahoma City put in a lot of money. I think over $20 million into that stadium. That was part of the agreement to get it for so many years. So I think the next time around, I think it would be something to look at. I mean, you really shouldn't ideally have a field like that within 30 miles or 20 miles of someone's campus. That's definitely a major player in the sport. But again, we're not. It is what it is, and they were willing to put the money up and put the funds. But it was also the home of ASA softball as well before the College World Series ever came here as well. So it was a well-known city for softball.
Visiting with Mike White, Texas softball coach. Okay, let's turn the attention toward this other semifinal. How do you and the staff go about your viewing of this game between Texas Tech and Oklahoma? You're well acquainted, obviously, not only with the Sooners, but also with the Red Raiders and Nigeria Kennedy and that sort of thing. So how closely are you not only just watching, but in terms of your scouting thing and with the things that you're looking for tonight as those two get together?
Yeah, I mean, I think as you can tell, Jerry Glasgow is quite the trickster, and you don't see home stolen very often, and he in softball, and he did that the other night, and he likes to run and be a little unpredictable, so that could happen again. He could use his speed to kind of play on their defense a little bit, and of course they have the ace in the hole with Niger Kennedy. She's a tremendous pitcher and has a below 1 ERA, so it's not very often you score a lot of runs against her. So I they kind of have that advantage right now, but again, they're going to have to hit the Sooners pitching as well.
Given the fact that your team has had success against her, Kennedy, I'm talking about, as well as the most recent of success against Oklahoma, you think your group's going to have a really good feeling, regardless of who comes out of that other side to match up with for the championship?
Yeah, we've got to feel good about ourselves. We can't be worried about what the other team's going to do. And I think, our team kind of said that in the press conference today, is we have to worry more about what we're going to do than what the other team's going to do. Obviously, we're going to have a game plan against whoever we play, but we've got to have that confidence that we've played these teams and we've played in this environment and we can beat them.
Mike, I appreciate the time as always. I'm glad you had a chance to, in a very pleasant way, catch your breath coming off the win, and obviously appreciate you joining us again. Wish you the best of luck, and we'll be watching and listening very, very carefully. Good luck in this one beginning on Wednesday.
Thank you, Craig, and I appreciate being able to talk to our fans and hook 'em.
Hook 'em indeed. That is Mike White, Texas softball coach. They're in the national championship round.